Mr. Rector, Mr. Dr. Kulesza, Mr. Moderator, Professor, ladies and gentlemen, bardzo słabo mówię po polsku, so I don't really want to inflict a lot of pain on you today. It's too complicated. That's okay. I'll stop when I'm ahead. I can read the papers, but I can't really say anything interesting. That's the difficulty. I always like coming here because it's always interesting. And one of the most interesting events I came to here was the Platforma Obywatelska election celebration party they had on election night in September 2005. Obviously, they took the place because they expected a massive victory, and it was, I'm sure some of you were here, and it was, I just remember they were rather sad. And someone said to me, you know what's going to happen now? They won't do a coalition with us, they'll do a deal with Sama Bronner and Mr. Lepper. And I said, you know, an LPR, I said, there's no way that'll happen, that can't happen. And so, of course, it happened, and we have a very different government here, and on we go. I have to go soon, very soon, because Norman Davies, who I'm sure some of you know, is having his inauguration today at Warsaw University, so I have to go off for that very special ceremony. I know how much he means in British-Polish relations, so I want to be there for that. So I'll just say a few words now about this project. Last week I was in London, because they have every year, they have this gathering of ambassadors. All the British ambassadors around the world were there to hear Mrs. Beckett and a video message from the Prime Minister to talk about, the global situation. And the theme of this year's conference was globalization. A bit of a cliche, you might say. But someone made, a good point. There were lots of good points, but the thing I remember from it was that someone said, we're having a moment of true drama in the terms of the history of the planet, which is that really quite quickly, in the space of a few years, 1.5 billion people, billion people are joining the global labour market. That affects everything. It affects, above all, our salaries, because on the margin, and it's now a very big margin, and maybe we are the margin, why do you need a Pole or a Brit when you can employ a clever Chinese or a clever Indian or a clever Brazilian? This is a very different context in which we're all now operating, and it's coming very fast, and it means that lots of effects flow from this. The main effect, actually, is what I call the democratization of technology. Everyone out there in China who can almost do anything can afford a mobile phone. And a mobile phone these days will link you to the internet, and you can do things. The same in Africa. The development potential of new technology in Africa to help them network properly and do things, and do bad things sometimes as well, is amazing, totally amazing. So therefore, the race is on. I was talking to Professor Hopper this morning. Singapore University is able to offer much more money than Cambridge for top scientists. Maybe some of you will go there, because you get a better deal than Europe. So for us in Europe, we have to use our potential in this very, very dramatic context. We have to use European money well. We have to spend it on science and not on cows. This is a British sort of strong point we have, but we keep making it. Every billion wasted on the common agricultural policy is a billion not spent on innovation. And the opportunity cost of those billions compounds up over the years quite quickly. So we have to do that, and we have to make sure that business and academic world and government, work sort of flexibly. That somehow these things aren't all different boxes. They're all in the same box, which is making us, as people, be creative and using our technology in a positive and, good way for the planet and also for ourselves. And I think the Lisbon agenda, all the stuff you talk about at that level, is about this. And it's not really happening very well. And the drama for Europe is we keep talking about all these things and not doing them. And Poland and the UK, I think we both feel frustrated at this situation, but it's not easy to turn that frustration into greater collective action. A lot of other partners don't seem to mind that much, whatever they say. I did a Some of you probably know Dennis McShane, now a former Foreign Office Minister. And he gave a speech once, which I wrote. And I said, the symbol of Russia is, the bear, the big scary sort of, what's a bear? Medved? Nedved. And the America has the eagle, China has the dragon. What is a symbol of the EU? Is it Bambi? A sort of deer wanting the forest to be very nice, but running away every time someone makes a bang? Or is it an ostrich? Something with its bottom stuck in the air and its head in the sand, thinking that it's a very big, fierce creature when it's not. So these are big symbolic things as well as practical things, and we have to remember that. I think we've done a good job in the UK with people like Professor Hopper was just saying before the meeting, Tony Blair. I've got to say, I was at Oxford, by the way. Let's just get this on the record. I was at Oxford, not Cambridge. And as it happens, Tony Blair was there with me. He was the year above. We played football together in the college football team. And now he's Prime Minister and I'm here. So, but I got a better degree than he did, which goes to show, don't work too hard. So, but Tony Blair has meetings with experts. The chief government scientist gets together teams of very small, brilliant people, and Tony Blair sits down with them for 2 or 3 hours and learns about what's going on in the world and then tries to apply it. And we've had success in that in our country, and I think we're very keen to work with you in this area to roll it out. These are the sort of things that make a difference when the Prime Minister and his team say, well, hang on a minute, this broadband stuff is really interesting. How do we turn that into a policy, and how do we get that going, and how do we link that to biotech and these different things? What are the big trends here? So this sort of work is the stuff we're prepared to share with you. And we're here today, to do all that. Just thinking about the Constitutional Treaty. We had the Berlin Declaration the other day. Now we've got the Constitutional Treaty debate coming up. Every time an English person sees the word Python, they think of Monty. They don't think of Cambridge. They don't think of CambridgePYTHON. They think of Monty Python. And I'm sure you folk all know the Monty Python, the sketch with the dead parrot. What's dead parrot in Polish? Dead parrot. Martwa papaga. And so in the UK, we tend to think the European Constitution is a dead parrot. I think Jack Straw even said that it was on one occasion. So there's a lot of argument out there in Europe as to whether it's a parrot and whether it's dead and whether you should give it artificial resuscitation or what you should do with it. But we're very pleased anyway in our country that we have a good relationship with, very good relationship with Poland on this subject, because it's a strategic question of symbolic and practical significance. Anyway, you're not here to talk about the Monty Python experience. You're here to talk about the CambridgePYTHON experience, which I'm sure is certainly not dead. It's very much alive. So I will, without any more, I will make a mad dash for the door and go and see Norman Davies get his degree. Thank you very much.
Dziękuję bardzo.